Good evening. It's time to place your bets. My name is Irwin Segelstein, and I'm here really primarily to welcome you to this wonderful celebration of our friendship for Murray Bolen. That's an applause cue. For those of you who are nervous, there is to give Murray a keepsake of this evening, we've arranged to have this videotape paraphernalia here so that he can see us all in our natural habitat. And this is not a P&G special. And you don't have to sign releases. And fortunately, you will not get a case of Crisco. There are, in this room, some 250 of us assembled here, representing all of those people whose lives Murray has touched. And many people have sent regards and letters, you'll hear more about that later, who could not be with us. All of us who regard Murray with affection and esteem. Behind the curtain is a man Murray knew in San Francisco first, and then came down to work with him when Murray worked at the Compton Advertising Agency, and their lives were intertwined then and were intertwined beyond that time right here in Los Angeles. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ralph Edwards.
Hey. Thank you, Irwin. Irwin Segelstein. I don't know how many of you know this, but Irwin used to work for me. He was a standby relative on This Is Your Life. We used him all the time there. Murray, where are you, Daddy? Son, where are you? I first met Murray Bolen February 1st, 1936. 6 years before that, I'd been over in Oakland, the East Bay radio. I had that all locked up good. You know, I didn't care about the Murray Bolens and the Harrises and all that kind of stuff, the Tom Brennemans, and well, I had the whole thing. I had such biggies as Dude Martin and his Nevada Night Herders. You might have heard of that. Another one that I had was Morgan Stomach Tablets, Laugh Hour. That was one of my big ones over there. At any rate, so when Pat Weaver called me and said they were auditioning for announcers at KFRC, would you like to come over and try out? I said, Mr. Weaver, don't tell me about that. You don't have to say one word. I'll be on the ferry boat right after you hang up. And I was, and I got the job. Murray and Harris was my first show that I announced. I was a staff announcer, but Murray was very good to me. He showed me the ropes. He showed me one about that big around. They hit the organist over the head with it there, and a whole lot of that. At any rate, then he went south. I went to New York. Truth or Consequences, the whole thing. We got together back here 9 years later. And that was something. The four of us, our spouses, and we had a great time with the Truth or Consequences and This Is Your Life. This is your life. My goodness, what? We have somewhat of a disappointment for you this evening. We were to do the life of George Giroux, but he's monitoring a garage sale in Costa Mesa and can't be here, so we're sorry. What are we talking about? We're here for this purpose. All-time great friend, all-time great producer, all-time great ad agency man, all-time great human being tonight, Murray Bolen. This is your life. Come on up. Bring him on up. Bring him on up. Hey, Bruce, bring him up. Hey! Oh, 4,000 years we do that for you. Oh, you're good. Sit down. Sit down. Oh, me. Murray, we're going to deal with your showbiz life. Forget the years in the correction home, you know, and all that. All right, tonight, though, we'll jump around in your life. One of your old radio friends and present pal at Pacific Pioneer Broadcasters, a nice guy but never told the truth and never got that closet straightened out either. You put an Irishman on.
Hi, Murray. It's good to see you.
Oh, Fibber McGee, Jim Jordan.
I thought I was to do that out here. I'll go this way.
Well, yeah, just any old way. Don't take the stairs straight off because it's a heck of a long step, that first one. Jim Jordan, one of a great parade. The ad agencies, Benton & Bowles in particular, really developed important television executives like so many of your friends here tonight. One of them, like so many here, also worked the station route. At least 2 networks, a major production company, but will always be remembered as the man behind Captain Video on Dumont. And
Murray, it's very pleasant to be here tonight. I always remember the first time I came to California, you took me into your home and treated me like a friend.
You hit it right.
That's Larry White?
That's Larry White.
Crazy. Captain Video, you pulled it. Okay, bless your heart.
Sorry about the spaghetti, Larry. Murray, in the early days of TV, this guy was one of your local stars for Arnold Baker's.
Murray, I will never forget the way you helped in those early days. Because, you see, Murray, remember how live that was? Everything was live. Nobody had tape. We were scared. Oh, my God, we were scared to death. Because we went on the air on Sunday night live, and you know, we didn't know what the hell to do. And we tried to calm each other. And I'll never forget how pleased you were when I took you on my lap and let you play horsey.
That's Robert
And I
Q.
pat you on the head and hand you a lollipop.
All right, come on out, Q.
One of the names of our friends you never forget, Robert Q. Lewis.
Thank you very much for coming over. Thank you. Look out. I will.
Thank you, Robert. Well, young people had to get their start somewhere, so one of the kids you brought along in broadcasting and on the old piano is here.
Murray, you told me you were going to teach me to play the piano. You really told me.
Is that Mort?
You never taught me. Thank you very much, Murray.
One of the better barroom pianists and top network administrators, Mort Werner. Hey, Mort.
That really came over.
You didn't teach me.
I know. You did all the rest of it yourself.
Well,
You did it all yourself.
why don't we start tomorrow?
Okay.
That's what I would like to do because I need it.
I'm a little out of practice.
How did he teach you the chords, for heaven's sakes? He's got a great big hand and you got a little one.
This is what we did. See it? That's what it was.
So you had to compensate for that in some way.
Very much. And I'm delighted to see you, and you look just, well, fine.
Thank you, Mort, very, very much.
How are things in Hawaii, old buddy?
Hawaii is just great.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming over.
Don't say that, you'll gut the place here. Here's a pair of stars. Now they're popular talkers, but they can hang from trapezes, walk tight ropes, and wrestle tigers.
Murray, remember the cottage at 3250 Goldwater Canyon Drive?
Oh, we're bringing them.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't know you then. But I'm standing next to a big fella who knew you very well then.
Murray, the cottage may be gone, but I'll tell you one thing. The calluses are still on my hands from painting it.
In the center ring, Ann Mobley and Gary Collins.
Crazy Nut, thanks for coming over. Bless your heart.
Yes, Gary?
Aside from helping Marianne and I every year on the circus, I must tell you about the first time I met Murray. Murray had this big spread on Goldwater Canyon, and I had rented a guest house, and they had sold the house, and Murray Bolen was the new owner, and it was a big day when the landlord came. So they had told me all this stuff about Murray, a big advertising magnet and all sorts of things. Well, when I first saw him, he had this great big cowboy hat on. He had this kind of plaid shirt. He had a vest. He had a big old cowboy buckle on, and he had chaps on, and he had a pair of pink ballet slippers. So I said to Murray, "Murray, what in the hell are you doing with those pink ballet slippers?" He says, "I just don't want anybody to think I'm a truck driver."
All right. Thank you. Mary Ann Mobley and Gary Collins. Thank you. All the best. Oh, you had a lot of good houses. I remember one sitting up with you watching.
A little bitty house. That was a dandy. All right.
One where you, where Barbara and I joined, you and Millie, you had made the television, not the television camera, for heaven's sake.
That's right.
We'd sit around watching a test pattern.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
That was a big day. Big day when we got a good
Number
test
6 here, we move on, right?
Yeah, all right.
We Reagan couldn't make it? Okay. This next fellow says you helped him select the good roles from the bad. And that sounds like a baker, but he's really an actor. And a good one. A clue. First name's the name. Same as a Rocky Mountain city. The second spells money if you're sitting pretty.
Murray, let me see. I called you first from the set of the Doris Day show, and about the first week we were on, you said it's good for 5 years. You were right. I called you from the set of the Grizzly Adams show, and you said it's good for 3. You're right. I called you from the Dukes of Hazzard, and you said, come on home. Why was that? That is, but really why I love you. You're the only guy in town that could repair a 927 rectifier for my Atwater Kent radio.
Denver Pyle. Here he is.
Yeah, you're crazy as I ain't, Cap. Bless your heart. Murray.
God bless you.
That's beautiful. You came over. Oh, I thought about you so much. I've been watching the show all the time.
You like it?
Yeah.
Changed your mind, huh?
Changed my mind. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Those numbers changed your mind. I know. God bless you, Murray.
Thank you very much for coming over. Bless your heart.
Talk about people who've done it all. Director, producer, radio, television, production company with all his great credits and associations. He'll be best known for Wendy Warren and the News.
Murray, I'll always love you for getting me through Glamour Manor.
Oh, gee. What? Here is Tom McDermott.
I love you.
That's your heart.
Thanks for coming over.
Glamour Manor. Great.
Freddie Dakota.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
great.
you, Tom.
Now, here are a pair of stars. You probably know him best from KMPC in Hollywood. He used to announce such shows as Shell Chateau, but then they both found horses were more profitable than gasoline, and they then spent years on Wagon Train and the Virginian.
Shell Chateau, tonight's guest, Will Rogers. Heading the supporting cast, my wife, although I didn't know it then, Murray.
Murray, you're synonymous with all the joys and sparkle of our profession. Thank you.
Jeanette Nolan and John McIntyre.
Montana! Montana! Montana, bless your heart.
Yeah, we'll have to talk it over.
They'd have brought the horse, but there wasn't enough room on the stage, right?
Still up on the Thompson? Yeah. Almost. Bless your heart.
The march of time has certainly treated them well, hasn't it? Oh, dear. Hey, when you, I wish we'd had this on This Is Your Life when we were going coast to coast, for heaven's sake. When you got back from the Far East, there was a guy announcing on KFRC. He seemed to be connected with every show you did.
I came in there one morning and they brought a guy in, a tall, skinny guy from Shanghai, China. I took one look at him. I said, there's a Chinaman with his eyes fixed. I still think he is. Where is he, off stage?
The one and only Walter Bunker. Bunky!
Nice work, Red Nose.
Oh, bless your heart.
Oh, you're right. You're right. How you doing, sweetheart? All right? Everything's all right, hey, Bunky? I mean, yeah, good, all right. You will recall, I think it was his his announcer's chair that I took over.
That is right.
Yeah, the reason you said it was because it was wet all the time. And no, he had that old granddad, you know, and he used to sit in the swivel chair and take the yardstick and sit back there and push the on-air sign and yell, KFRC San Francisco, and then put it off. Oh, Bunky. Here's a man who is as nice as his characters are nasty. You helped him on the Benny Show.
I don't know. Murray Bolen? Is that who we're honoring? I thought Mary Boland was dead. Good God Almighty, I can't believe I'm here on the wrong evening. But what the hell, I'll go. I'll do the best I can. It really is Murray Boland?
Another guy who says.
I vaguely remember him. He hasn't hired me in 30 years.
Oh, Frank Nelson, everybody.
Give us the... That's the one.
You know, I'm looking around this crowd tonight, and I'm thinking, oh boy, they did a hell of a job. And I gotta say one thing to you. When Lou Wexler appeared in the Hare Krishna outfit at LAX, I thought that was pushing a little bit to get the people into the room tonight. But then, when he gave me the glass of wine with the rose in it and kissed me on my lips, I said, God damn, I better buy the tickets. And I did, and I'm here.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank, very much there.
Step off of it?
You do a half gainer off the front there, that's all. Watch the first one, that's all. You won't remember the second. Now, a man not really a gangster. Murray, how you doing here, pal?
I'm managing to bear up. Yeah.
This is a real row of biggies here. But this man's not really a gangster, just a creative actor, producer, director from the Danny Thomas Show days and much earlier.
That's got to be Shell.
Murray, you ran interference for us in the days when we were in great danger because there was no tolerance for a show that didn't make it in the first week, and we didn't. But you kept us, you helped us stay, and I think between us we made some changes in the television medium, and for that we all owe you an obligation.
Sheldon Leonard, and here he is.
Thanks, Shell. Hi, Murray. Bless your heart. Good to see you, old kiddo.
Good to see you. Pleasure, you're looking fine.
Doing pretty good for an old dude. Thank you, Shell. Thank you.
Murky, I'm going to get on the other side of you. You just sit right there. I think I serve a better purpose over here. I'll try it this way for a while. I'm getting left-handed over here.
I'll be left-handed.
Now, good Irish tenors are... did you lose it? Oh, there you go. I didn't know you were wearing one, Murky, anymore. Good Irish tenors are hard to find, but you sure did. Does this voice sound familiar? When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a vine in spring. Oh, there, Murray, me boy, you're a grand boy.
Hello, Irish. Come on, Dennis.
You gotta love the little man, Dennis. Hey, Murray.
Thank you so much.
You're beautiful. You know, I first met Murray back October the 9th, 1939. He was the producer of the Jack Benny radio show for YNR, and little did he realize that I was going to turn out to be the biggest producer in Hollywood. With 10 kids. Thank you, Murray. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, me boy. You got a pretty good laugh on this side. I think I'll come back. Murray, you may think the Murray and Harris Act just happened on KJR, but there was a guy who, besides being an announcer, scheduled you. Also became one of your dearest friends.
And I had to cope with Rena Gottman as well as you guys.
She used to drag me through a peach orchard as well as you two. If you remember, and I think you do.
The fellow who could always make chopped chicken liver sound like pâté de foie gras, Thomas Freebairn-Smith.
No wonder I couldn't find you down there, you crazy son of a gun. Oh, beautiful. Found Betty, but I couldn't find you earlier. Son of a, you were hiding backstage on me. Always. Bless your heart, Tom.
Thank you, Tommy. Better go this way, I think. All right, he never got over that Andy Granatelli accent, did he, there with that? Let's go back to KFI. Here's a gent who had some snappy patter. You and he did KJR Seattle, Vaudeville, Blue Monday Jamboree on KFRC, and then worked the Orient, probably starting World War II. Or was it one?
Remember this little theme song you wrote? On a quiet afternoon, a little twosome, a quiet afternoon, you bill and coosome.
Is that Harris? Is that Steve
You take
Harris?
a little lady
Harris
of the
Brown?
tate and type, you take her where it's cozy, and the neighbors are not too nosy. And then the announcer would come in, and quite often would be a chap named Ralph Edwards.
Yeah.
And they would say, the two, pardon me, jokers of harmony, Murray and Harris.
Ah, Stephen Harris Brown, Murray's partner.
I sure do.
Great.
I haven't talked to 800 years. You look wonderful.
Pardon?
You look wonderful. I'm glad to see you. Bless your heart. All right. Oh, yeah.
This is an act they used to do on this show, you know.
Have you been down there and seen the pictures, the old ones that they've got?
Oh, yeah, I
blown up
gave
down
it
there? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Not all
You
of
guys never let the...
Oh, no. I got more.
Thank you, Harris. Or Stephen, maybe that way, and there'll be a girl down there waiting for you, and you go upstairs and you come. You guys never let the announcers, that's about all the announcers had to do. Pete Peterson, the sound effects man, had 5 times the amount of mic time that I had on that show. I was really whiffed off it.
Yeah.
All right, here's a guy who is the subject of the question, whatever happened to? A rare exception, he worked for both the agency Compton and was your good friend, and then for Procter, P&G, and was your good client.
Murray, as a representative of the American Gerontological Society, and in honor of your longevity in a crazy business, I wish to state that we intend to clone you. After the cloning, we will open an agency called Bolen, 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 and Bolen.
From Genoa, Nevada, Gil Rothsman.
Gil! Dang, you crazy nut. I'll never find you. Oh, bless your heart. So good to see you.
It's good.
Oh, my goodness.
What are you doing in Genoa, Nevada? Everyone wants to know.
Well, we have a very interesting problem in Genoa, Nevada. We got a lot of bad backs.
So you're fixing them?
I fix them.
Are you still flying an airplane?
No, I don't fly an airplane because I can't see anymore.
Oh, that makes 2 of us. Okay.
Must be a wonderful place to stay. It sounds like the last resort there, kind of, to me. I don't know, but anyway. Hey, old buddy, thank you. For me, too. Oh, that's something? A man who created a whole new genre of television, a widower with a son who fought for high morality with the fastest rifle in the West while playing first base for the L.A. Angels.
Hey, no. Now, you got to remember the good old days back there when I was shooting that gun and telling that killer, the boy, all those good things. And Grant Tinker and Lee Rich were coming in from New York representing Benton and Bowen. And you were Arlo Rupp. And you did all the little marvelous things like coming out to the set. Do you remember the day you saddled my horse, oiled my gun, put the kid up on the horse? All those wonderful things, I remember you were. For a gentleman and a scholar, and I am proud to be here, Murray, to say hello to you, my friend.
Chuck Connors.
Another of Murray's Legion, Chuck Connors.
Hey, Chucko. God, you big lump. Beautiful. I haven't seen you for so long.
I didn't want to say it back there. I wanted to be here with you. This gentleman also stole 2 of my wives.
I did?
Wasn't it you? What was that address? 3250 Goldwater. Was that it? I wrote that down, Murray.
Close.
God, you look beautiful. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Boy, you look wonderful. All right. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Forgive me. Thank you, Chuck. A man you know well, having spent the best part of 1960 to 1968 in Mayberry, North Carolina, with him, Murray.
Murray, I'd like to thank you for the best 8 years of my life.
One of your and everybody's pal, Andy Griffith.
Andrew.
Good to see you, pal.
Oh, you threw me with the Mayberry. Oh, my God. You said Mount what you call him. I would have got it. Hey, Andrew. Thanks for coming.
Now, here's one up-and-coming young fellow. I'm not sure what he's doing at the moment, but when he first came to Hollywood, you helped him arrange for housing, Murray.
Murray, you certainly did. You sold me the first house that I bought in California, and you told me I was getting a good deal. And in the ensuing 20 years...
Okay, Tinker.
I've discovered, Murray, that you charged me too much for that house.
Oh, no!
And I'm not here tonight just because I love you, though I do love you. I'm here to get some of my money back.
One of your great Tinker. Here he is.
Good to see you. Thanks so much. I gave you the house. I gave you the house.
Yeah, that was a lie. He gave me the house.
You heard it here. Right that way, Grant. Thank you. Here's a man now who was once your roommate, who brought you into Young and Rubicam and later into Wells Rich. The man of 1,000 ideas per hour.
And Murray, I have a good idea right now. Let's eat.
The guy in all our life, Pat Weaver. Hey!
Good boy.
That's all he's been talking about.
But yeah, bless your heart. Okay, Pat.
I got anecdotage coming, don't you worry.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Table by table.
Bless your heart. Thanks so much for everything.
Right.
Where's Liz?
She's at table 24.
Liz, where are you, sweetie? Table 24, it's right
I'll
here.
find it.
That's all.
There we go.
Right
down.
Take the stairs. You better not go that way, Pat. Try at the left. Right down there. Straight ahead there, Pat. There you go. Pat Weaver. Oh. Well, Murray, I don't know of anybody else in Hollywood or New York that could gather this kind of a troupe. This staccatic, This Is Your Life Tonight, has all the earmarks of a shotgun wedding, never so much accomplished by one man to warrant the hullabaloo, with so much fun by that man in the doing. You've caused a lot of good things to happen to a lot of people over a long period of time, and in so doing are enjoying every minute of it. Fran, of course, has a lot to do with that, and we salute you both. Fran, where are you, dear? Say hi. There you go. Good. Now, they still say they're going to, Bruce and Dan, everybody, do a big deal on the table later on, so I don't. And I want to thank you because we've had this cast hanging around for a long time. Weaver, Tinker, Warner, Bunker. My God, it sounds like a trade union, doesn't it? Yeah. We're glad you showed up to get them off our hands anyhow. And Murray, I know you'll want to thank one of the unseen heroes of this shotgun, This Is Your Life, the fellow who's been drill sergeant to those cronies of yours who marched back into your life tonight. One of our industry's major producers and good friend of yours also, Bob Finkel. Bob, come on out and say hello to the man.
I've seen you before this evening, Robert.
You did a good job, Bob. And the unsung entrepreneur of the salute to you, Murray, he doesn't know I'm going to do this, but darn it, your buddy, Senior Vice President of Wells, Rich, and Green, Lou Wexler. Where's Lou? There he is over there. All right, come on, Murray. Let's all go down and eat. Stay tuned in, folks. There's more to come, and let's hear it for Murray. More to come. Hey, Murray. God love you, pal. Okay. I'll keep it fixed up.
I guess the first order of business is to ask the question that's on everybody's mind in this room, which is, how did a kid from Montana get a name like Murray? As a matter of fact, I have for a long time been confused between between you and Lee Rich. I knew one of you was Jewish, but I didn't know which one. Lee is not here tonight. He would not pay $32. He wanted to make the dinner a public issue. This is for all of us a very warm and sentimental evening, Merck. And I don't know what to do but to suggest that I will tear up my heart and speak to you from my prepared notes. And there are some people we do have here this evening. Thank you. I feel like Joey Lewis, and I cannot tell you why I don't drink water, because it's a dirty joke. There is something called a 50 Club. And for those of us in broadcasting, those of us on the the show business side of Murray's life, perhaps you don't know what it's all about, but there were only 50 people. And it does speak to Murray's hobby and avocation in amateur radio, or let's call it ham radio. And a gentleman here tonight worked with Murray, was secretary when Murray was the president of the 50 Club, Mr. Bob Black, and he has a few words he wants to say to you, Murray.
Murray and Fran, ladies and gentlemen, when Lou Wexler asked me to participate in tonight's program, I was flattered and somewhat apprehensive. Had I been able to envision what I have seen and heard, I would have collapsed completely. All amateur radio stations in the country are assigned identifying call signs by the Federal Communications Commission. Murray's call sign is W6ABR. If we use the standard phonetics, Murray's call of W6ABR would become Whiskey 6 Alpha Bravo Romeo. In the case of Murray's station, I would think that the W6ABR could become Whiskey 6 America's Bright Resource. And so long as America's bright resources include fellows like Murray Bolen, the future is not too shaky. Good luck, Murray. Keep hamming it up. Thank you.
I've known Murray a long time, but not as long as some of you. I met Murray, I wish you hadn't said that. But it was right after World War II, the heyday of network radio. Murray came to New York to do some radio, but fundamentally to produce the first network television soap opera. He was the producer, and I was his assistant, or as today would be called, his associate producer. Fair enough, Tinker. And our goal in producing the first 100 years was to bring back network radio. And it didn't last very long, did it, Murray? That's about it, right? And it would have lasted longer if we knew what we were doing. We got on and off the air every day for Procter & Gamble. It seems remarkable that to do a 15-minute soap was such a remarkable achievement. But that goes back to, I think, roughly 1950, 51. The next gentleman who will speak to us is really, by every standard, by every definition, a remarkable giant in the world of broadcasting and communication. More than that, however, a very old personal friend of Murray's, starting together as young kids in San Francisco, sharing an apartment, cheating Murray out of 1/2 of the rent. And a man to whom all of America, really, all of America owes a debt of gratitude, who started things and did things that we all remember and that exist today on network television, and that is Mr. Sylvester Pat Weaver.
See, Mort, you get up here fast, Mort. Fast. I really am happy to be here at this marvelous non-retirement party. Obviously, it's a lot better than retiring, where you got to watch and only the employees come and only those who are made to come. So, Murray, you're very fortunate that way. And I am too, because now finally I can get rid of a guilt complex I have had ever since 1934, when I said to Murray, Murray and Harris, songs, dances, and funny sayings, a fine act, and I know that Harris is here too, but you should get into production. And of course, after I persuaded him, the Tussie Cosmetic Show is folklore, as you all know. But I realized afterwards, and again, when I got him to Y&R for the Benny Show, I kept saying to myself, my God, what have I done? He could be Captain Bolen in the Amateur Hour. He could be Hop-Along Bolen if he'd stayed in show business. He could have been Captain Murray in the Howdy Doody Gang. He could have gotten into the motion picture business. He could have gone onward and upward in show business with Horace Heidt and Conrad Veidt and all the other household names. And then I said to myself, well, wait a minute. You know, in those days, when you went to Hollywood, I could see Jack Warner or Harry Cohn saying, Murray Bolen, what kind of a name is that? That new actor, we'll give him a different name. And Murray, I could just see him now sitting there and saying, I've got it. We'll call him Merlin Brando. So close, so close. But that's what would have happened, maybe, if you'd gone straight into show business instead of going straight with me through the other world. But it is really wonderful that I can get that off my chest and see you here still working. Little did I know, when Lou Wexler and I were looking for somebody, and Murray was the guy out here 15 years ago, that it was going to go on forever. I mean, my deal was 5 years, Lou. However, Murray, it's a great evening, and we're all going to sit around and talk to each other. But of course, the president is going to say a few words first. But rejoice.
Let me tell you how it works, Pat. You don't have to bend over. You lift up the mic. It's easy. And you've been in broadcasting all these years. As a tall person, it's been a substantial number of months since Lou Wexler called me on a Saturday and said, what the hell are you doing tonight? And we said, come over and have a drink and we'll go have some supper. And we went to a neighborhood restaurant, dinner $7. And he suggested that there is a need for a celebration of life, and nobody we knew better deserved, not for him, but for us, that celebration of life, than Murray Bolen. And so we started to put lists of people together that Murray knew. Murray had helped people. I mean, it's hard to believe that once on Fire Island, Murray came to our house and wore my bathing suit. We washed it, but nonetheless, we fit in the same suit. It seemed to us to be the perfect man to say to all of us in this room how much we mean to one another and how much he means to us and how much we mean to ourselves. And it was Lou, I think, who, with his perseverance and tenacity and leisure time, who managed to get us all into this room. And I think it is a moment when we should hear from Lou, who has a couple of things to say. Lou?
I have several very pleasant duties, but I'll keep them short. Well, thank you, now I can't see the paper. I'll keep them short. I have announcements such as the Bible class will meet on Thursday in the church basement and so forth. I want to thank you all for coming and for making my efforts, which weren't really that great, so wonderfully paid off.
Yes, they were.
Well, thank you. But you know, Murray is lucky in other ways. Pat mentioned some of the ways, but as the West Coast head of broadcasting for Wells Rich Green, Murray is constantly assisted by somebody who's both talented and lovely. And as most of you know, tonight could not possibly have worked without the efforts of Madeline Barnett, who works with Murray, who really did all the heavy-duty work on this. Mad, stand up for a minute. Indeed. You know, we have people here from many different walks of Murray's life. We have show business people, we have ham radio people, we have social friends. And many of you may not know Murray's family, which has been both a joy and a support and wonderful people to keep them together. I'd just like them all to stand up together. Murray's wife, Fran, his brother, Lee, his sister, Janet, his son, Bruce, Pam, and his granddaughter, Dana. Stand up for a moment and let all of these people see the Bolen family, because they are part of this celebration as well. We obviously can't acknowledge all the individuals who are here in the room. I'd simply like to say that many of them, many of the people here, have really come from long distances to honor Murray. We have people here who've come in from New York, from Virginia, from Nevada, from San Francisco. And I know Murray is also very pleased by the fact that a large group of his clients flew in from Cincinnati. There's a large group of Procter & Gamble people here who came out just to honor Murray on this occasion. And they're here too, and that's a mark of their class and certainly of Murray's class as well. Other people couldn't be here tonight. They've sent rafts of wires and telegrams, and from all kinds of people. We have show people who've communicated with me about Murray, and I have letters for him from people like, I have a list I must read: Bob Crosby, Maury Amsterdam, Giselle McKenzie, Danny Thomas, Maggie Whiting, Dick Van Dyke, Victor Borga, Lanny Ross, Phil Harris, Shirley Temple, and Loretta Young. On the other side, we have broadcasting and advertising executives, and I have correspondence for you, Merck, from Louis Titterton, from Havey at Procter & Gamble, A.N. Halverstadt, from Gail Smith, and from your good friend Bob Stivers, who was not able to be with us tonight. We also have at least one letter from a very important ham friend of Murray's, Senator Barry Goldwater, who would be here tonight were it not for a recent hip operation he had. So Murray really crosses a lot of different paths. I've worked with Murray directly and very closely at two agencies, at Benson & Bowles and at Wells Rich Green, but only for about 25 years. I don't rank with Pat, I'm sorry. But I do work very closely with him. I've learned a hell of a lot. I'm still learning from him, and I expect to learn a lot more. And I'd like to just finish by saying that my feelings are probably best expressed and certainly better written, not by something I've done, but in a letter I received from a very dear associate of Murray's. I'd just like to read an excerpt of it from Ted Steele at Benson & Bowles, who couldn't be here tonight for important personal reasons. In the letter, Ted says of Murray, "He was far and away the best person I ever brought into the company," Benson & Bowles. "He is the quintessence of a gentleman in every sense of the word. He is almost certainly the nicest guy to work with I ever had alongside me," in Benson & Bowles. "From Murray, I learned all I ever did learn about Hollywood, and I'm eternally grateful for the patience and kindness he showed me when I just moved there, a smart-ass from New York, and discovered how dumb I really was. Murray is a tower of talent, of human decency, of loyalty, and of plain old-fashioned goodness. I ask God's blessing on him and wish Murray and all of his friends an evening of sheer triumph." And that's, I think, all of our feelings. That explains why we're here tonight. There is one other person I think it would be appropriate to have come up right now. No affair in this community, whether it's social, business, or anything else, is an affair worthy of mention if Army Archard, who is the Dean of Hollywood Columnists, were not to take part. Army, would you come up for a moment, please?
Thank you very much, Lou. Well, here I am, the kid who's now a dean. It sure whizzes by in a hurry. Lou, congratulations. You did a fantastic job tonight. I thought I knew a lot of people in this town. But Murray, no one knows as many people as you, and no one is loved more than you are by everyone in this town. Now, I've had the pleasure of being associated with and co-host of the People's Choice Awards for 8 years. It's a wonderful association. I'm very proud of it, and everyone here is too, I know that. As you know, the People's Choice Award is a very unique award. It's voted by the people who count. Tonight, you are the people who count. You are the public. All those in favor of voting Murray Bolen, the all-around favorite, please say aye. Murray Bolen? Murray Bolen, please come up here to accept your People's Choice Award. The all-around favorite, Murray Bolen.
It really does say that on here, too. This thing has been sitting around. I've seen it several times, Lou, you son of a gun. But it didn't have all the printing on it. Okay. This is the most undeserved award I've ever heard of. And I haven't anything to say to all you people who have said all the nice things about me tonight. And I've got the biggest charge out of anything that's ever happened to me at this whole doings tonight. I can't thank Mr. Lou Wexler, who's my boss in New York. I didn't think he was such a terrible, sweet guy. But he is. Oh, boy. And Pat Weaver, old-time chum, and all the rest of you, thank you so much for turning out. I don't know how the hell you got inveigled into doing this, spending $32 to come out here. It sounds like an impossibility to me. I do appreciate it very much. I can't tell you what it does to a dumb agency guy who doesn't know what time it is. Goodbye, and thank you so much.
Looks like it was prepared by a hooker. What is this? It is only 9:40, so the bar is open. I know that Mort Werner cannot be dissuaded from playing the piano, and maybe we can persuade Murray to play a little four-handed stuff. So we will adjourn for the time being and go next door and listen to the entire score of the Student Prince. It is a celebration for us, Murray. An extraordinary, you know, it sounds like I'm doing a Ralph Edwards number, but it is true. You will represent for all of us the best times in our life, and we thank you. And we'll go next door.